How did you find me here waiting for you? Across the multiverse we collide. It's extraterrestrial, our love. Across the multiverse, you and I.
Backboneverse, welcome back to Journey Through the Arrowverse. I'm your host, Logan Crosland, and I will bring in now my co-host, Keithie Langston. How are you?
I'm great, Logan. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy to be back here talking some Arrow. Uh, Before we get into things or anything like that, do you have any other thoughts from the first episode that we covered last time?
Um, no, but I will say a lot of positive feedback I heard on our first episode. So I think a lot of people are, uh, very excited and very concerned about the amount of time that we're going to dedicate to this journey. And I'm pretty sure that most people assume that if not one of us, definitely one of us, but if not one, both of us will be dead before this podcast concludes. So, you
Yeah,
know,
Tim made the suggestion of doing 6-month intervals like the exposition, and I said my grandkids' kids would be dead by the time we finished it if that happens. So.
I was talking to Sean about it, and I said to Sean, I go, honestly, I think once we start getting into, doing the multiple shows, it'll probably pick up just because we could probably handle like we'll do an episode of Arrow and Flash within one of the episodes. I said we could also double up and do stuff. I said it's really just we want to lay the foundation of this universe, and then you and I can obviously discuss it more on. But I mean, even if we get these out twice a month, I mean that's a pretty good clip we'll have, by the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we should be able to do some damage
Yeah,
within the year for sure. But
sure.
we are back at it with episode number 2 of Arrow. It is titled "Honor Thy Father."
Era,
Uh,
honor thy fucking father, kid.
but honor thy father, obviously
Yes.
referencing Mr. Queen, Oliver
hmm
Queen's
Robert
father,
Queen.
Robert. Um,
Yes.
but we open with kind of how we're going to open with most of these episodes. It's kind of Oliver, aka the Hood, kind of recapping what happened last time.
hmm
He kind of does a little voiceover, and he does it real dramatically, like "This is how I became this," and blah blah blah. So it's going to become kind of a staple of it. He's going to talk about the island more likely than not, or wherever he happens to be in kind of the
Yes.
flashback scenes most of the time. Um,
Correct.
but it goes from there. It kind of cuts to him beating up some guards and kind of trying to force whoever he's beating up to kind of make good with whatever's going on there. He then is to appear in court to become legally back to life. They obviously assumed him dead, so he was legally dead while he was on the island, obviously. But
hmm
on his way to the courtroom, he flashes back to a storm on the island. He explains to the judge what happened, saying for those 5 years on the island, he felt like he lived for both him and his father. And then eventually his declaration of death is rescinded. He leaves the courtroom. He runs into a very pissed off and angry Laurel Lance, of course.
hmm
Um, he watches the press conference of a man who is being prosecuted by Laurel. We don't quite know his name yet, but we'll learn it in just a second. Um, and then he steals the car that Diggle was supposed to pick him up in. So Diggle is once again absolutely pissed off at him. We then see Laurel giving an opening statement against Martin Summers, who was the man that was doing the press conference. He's played by Ty Olson. I kind of
Oh,
looked him up. Not much. Not he wasn't a huge star or anything like that. So he was a guy that was in a lot of TV shows, but nothing of huge note that I noticed. But he has apparently been smuggling drugs into the city by the way of the Chinese triads. And in order to keep his illegal business going, uh, Summers had a man named Victor killed, and Laurel is arguing on behalf of his daughter Emily.
mm.
So before we go any further, what'd you kind of think of Oliver being announced legally alive once again, and kind of his him running into Laurel and kind of what Laurel's into in this episode?
Well, I made a note to say that the previous 4 times that he had been in court was for a DUI, beating up a paparazzi douchebag, according to Tommy Merlin, stealing a taxi, which according to Tommy was so epic, and then I guess peeing on a cop. So the 4 previous times that Oliver has been in court in front of a judge, that's what the previous times. Very very interesting this time around. He's like, I think I'm going to go in and just do what I can. And he's he's very restrained and very stoic while he's in front of the judge, I will say. The guy, what's his name?
Martin Summers.
Martin Summers. Do you know there's a there's a fellow pod connection with him? He is actually in X2 X-Men United. And he stars as the Mitchell Lario, who's the guy that Mystique puts the metal shit into, and then when he goes to like see Magneto in his plastic cell, he goes, "Oh, hello, Mr. Lorio. Oh, too much iron in your blood," and then he pulls out all the shit. So X2 X-Men United, we watched that on Exposition, so check that out on the North South Connection through the Jenny position. But yeah, so that's I guess where I would have recognized him from. I mean, you're right. He's kind of just a character actor, does, some different roles here and there. Nothing crazy. I think probably that's, if anybody was to recognize him, they would probably recognize him from maybe, I don't know. But yeah, no, great opening kind of scene. I like how he sees Laurel again, and they have that like initial confrontation, and obviously it's important moving forward. Him ditching Diggle is also kind of funny, but I'm kind of glad that this is kind of the last we see of that, I feel like. So, and then we'll see why as we move forward. So
yeah, I'm going to mention this now before I forget, but I think I kind of want to add to our awards. It's not really an award per se, but it's how many episodes has it been since Oliver got found out by somebody? Because I'm pretty sure he gets found out by somebody in our next couple of episodes. So I think
the worst kept secret.
I think I want to make that a counter until he fully reveals himself to the world.
Absolutely, I love it. So right now we're at 1.
Yeah, so we'll see it. We'll see if anybody finds him out before the end of the episode. But from there, we learn that Summer's name is on Oliver's father's list. That's in the book, obviously. We then kind of cut from there, and Oliver, as the Hood, is attacking Summers and his men. He has Summers upside down. He is shooting arrows at him, trying to get him to confess to the murder, trying to get him to confess to all the other shitty things that he's been doing. He's not quite successful on this attempt. Moira is then with Diggle, and she complains to him about continuously losing Oliver. Oliver then walks in, and she asks him where he has to run off to so often whenever he escapes from Diggle. Moira then asks him to take Diggle with him on his next rendezvous, as she called it. Diggle then tells Oliver he'll quit if he's ditched one more time. Thea then complains to Oliver about him showing up after 5 years and just constantly judging her, because he kind of asked her about her drug habits and kind of her partying lifestyle that she's obviously gained since they left. And he's acting more like a father than a brother. And that's not really what she wants or needs him to be at this point. Summers then doesn't want to tell Laurel anything about, or Detective Lance, anything about the run-in with the Hood. Lance then assures him he'll get his man, and Summers makes threats towards Laurel if it's not taken care of. So, he's threatening Quentin with, hurting his daughter if he doesn't take care of the Hood. We then get Oliver getting a tour of the family business. Moira and Walter would like a name to name a new building after Oliver's father, and ask Oliver to take a leadership position in the company in that division that they're about to start. Oliver seems to have absolutely no interest with working for the company, despite the fact that in the last episode he was ready to get right back after it. And then he kind of takes another shot at Walter for being married to his mother and kind of sleeping with his mother without kind of telling him straight out when he came back. So what did you think of Moira kind of getting after Diggle for losing Oliver multiple times? Summers kind of threatening Quentin, and Oliver not really wanting part of the family business.
I mean, it's a good. It's very reminiscent to many of the, and you kind of find this throughout like the course of this show, where I think a lot of what they pull in this Arrowverse of Oliver Queen is very similar to what at least the movie versions of Bruce Wayne are, where it's like Bruce really has he's very aloof. He has no interest in being, running the company or being really involved in Wayne Enterprises, especially in the Nolanverse. They go down that road, which is very different from the comics, and I believe very different from the comics as well in Green Arrow. I read Green Arrow for a while, but it was like New 52 era, which was kind of like it was a relaunch that DC had done in like the 2000s. And so he was involved in all Queen Consolidated. And so not as much as an aloof kind of playboy as he's portraying right now. And that comes into play in kind of like a nice little dialogue later on in this episode. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's a very forced reaction as far as like how he's dealing with like his mother and how he's dealing with like Walter and everything like that. I didn't think it was necessary, but
yeah,
it's okay because it kind of doesn't last very long as far as like, I'm pretty sure Walter's out of the show by the end of this season, I think. If I remember
pretty sure
correctly.
he is. Yeah, I think that's right.
And then his mother's out of the show by like what, season 2, I think.
Yeah,
so
I think she's
yeah.
We'll
But I mean, but I think he makes amends and everything. I still feel like, I mean, this being the second episode and really he's only been back for like a week, I feel like it's still, he's trying to figure out where his place is in this world now. And I can understand him being a little cautious with everybody because as we know, like his father's like, we're not innocent. Our hands are bloody too. So I think he doesn't know who to trust. He doesn't know who to look to. And really I don't think he can't even trust his mom at this point,
Yeah. And I mean, he obviously wants to accomplish other things, obviously checking people off of his dad's book off of his list. So that doesn't really open him up to be like a corporate guy going to meetings and stuff like that. And there's some like cut-ins where he kind of talks, I don't think that'll necessarily be always mentioned in these kind of write-ups that I'm going through or anything like that. But,
but it is interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it is interesting, like the almost the 180 from the first episode, because, and I wonder if that was something that when they wrote the pilot, and then they went, you know what, we don't want to go down this road and have him be like kind of distracted, and because that's very much like if you watched like the Batman 66, like the Adam West version, like Bruce Wayne. There's a great episode where Bruce Wayne is talking on the phone to Batman, and it's like, because Batman and Bruce Wayne both called like Commissioner Gordon, and he's like, he's got one phone, and he's like, oh, I don't know, Batman, and then he's like, well, Bruce Wayne, blah, blah, and it's like he's doing this like whole thing where he's going back and forth with the phone, and it's real campy and goofy, and I think that they probably thought that they may slip into that kind of version where it's like, he's almost like, oh, the hood is on the loose. We should call Oliver Queen and see if he can help us with it. You know what I mean? So I kind of like where they went with this in episode 2.
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, he doesn't want to get caught up in, being in business meetings all the time when, he might have the opportunity to take out one of these people that he feels he needs to get rid of for his father's sake and all that. So, or his memory. But we go from there, and Diggle talks to Oliver about family, kind of talks about his family, kind of tries to relate with him. This kind of makes Oliver flash back to when he first kind of got to the island from the raft that they took, obviously, from the yacht where his father shot the other guy and obviously shot himself. His father's corpse finally washes up to on the island, and then he carries his body as birds are trying to kind of pick at it and obviously get what they came for. But he kind of tries to carry him away and take him to a kind of higher ground. We then get Quentin. He drops by Laurel's office and tells her that her and her assistant are going to have 24/7 protective custody from the cops of the city. Obviously, Laurel's obviously not too excited about this, but he says he's just doing his job. This isn't about him or her being his daughter or anything like that. It's just keeping her safe because obviously she would be a target of these people that are coming after her, because obviously Summers is connected to some bad people. Speaking of that, we go to him talking to a female representative of the Triads. They don't name her. Her name is China White. I'm assuming she was probably in the comics at some point, but and she doesn't get named throughout the episode, but I know that ends up being her name. But she seems to convey to Summers that she thinks killing Laurel would probably be a good idea. We then cut back to the Queen Mansion where Oliver's got his shirt off for some reason, showing off his amazing bod and all that. But Thea kind of walks in. Thea walks in and notices all of the scars. He tries to put a shirt on real quick, so she doesn't notice him as much, but she obviously catches him kind of there shirtless with all the bumps and bruises and obviously massive scars that he has all over his body. He says he's not ready to talk about what happened to him on the island. Thea obviously wants him to open up, but obviously she understands that it was pretty traumatic. She then takes him out to the back of the house and shows him that there are 2 tombstones behind the house, one for him and one for his father. She says while he was gone, she'd ask his headstone for advice, like she was actually talking to him. But then she says now that he's back, she feels less connected to him now than when he was missing and she was just talking to obviously a headstone. And then she just kind of ends that conversation with, "Let me in, Ollie. I really just want to connect with you." And then she just kind of walks off. So before we get to the next kind of impactful scene, what did you kind of think of those few scenes that I just went through?
So China White actually was introduced in October of 2007. She first appears in Green Arrow Year One, which was written by Andy Diggle and the artist known as Jock. White, she was primarily an adversary for Green Arrow in his early years. She's played by Kelly Hu, who also is in who's in X2 X-Men United. So Kelly Hu having another role in another connection to the Exposition Pod. Yeah, Kelly Hu played Lady Deathstrike in X2. So, and then I feel like you know what? It wasn't her. Her character, I think Lady Deathstrike. There is a Lady Deathstrike in Deadpool and Wolverine, but it's not played by Kelly Hu. So, which kind of stinks. That would have been good if they brought her back, but they didn't. But she's a good character. She's a recurring character, I think, throughout the Arrowverse for a while, and so we'll see her appear every once in a while. I like it's so funny because I think, like, didn't we talk a little bit last episode about Thea kind of being like annoying, and I was like, yeah, I don't hate Thea, I think, as much as everybody else hates Thea. I kind of like her in the sense that, she's trying not to be a bratty kid, but she's also like not going to put up with all of her shit, because clearly he is, as you had pointed out earlier, trying to do this like father figure thing. And yeah, it's not going to fly. Like, she's not going to fly with that, but I do like that Diggle kind of sees right through Oliver at this point, and he's just like, he's not going to take any of his shit, which I like. And again, just proving how awesome of a character he is. So I like that. And I mean, we have the kind of the brief discussion between Laurel and her father, and she kind of throws back a little of his kind of like wisdom at her, and he's like, you didn't really have to do that. And she's like, well, I learned from the best, that kind of thing. So yeah, I kind of like where they're going with this right now. obviously we get to a very interesting scene coming up next. So yeah, there's a lot happening right now, and not even like a ton of new introduction, but just kind of continuing on with what we've already seen.
Yeah, and I can understand people thinking Thea's maybe annoying, but she's like, she's obviously been through a lot. She kind of
Sure.
deserves the chance to be a little bit annoying.
Yes.
Obviously, she wants her brother back. She wishes she had him in the first place, and all of this had never happened in the first
Hmm.
place. So,
Hmm.
um, so she may come across that way as kind of whiny or whatever, but
Yeah.
she obviously has been through a lot. She lost her father and thought she lost her brother, and now that her brother's back, he's kind of acting more like her father than her brother, obviously, and that's not what she wants out of the relationship. So, um, we then get Oliver dropping by Laurel's apartment. He
Hmm.
initially says he blew her off to protect her, but now realizes that he hurt her even more. He tells her about not wanting to work for the company and his mother seeming to not accept the answer that he gave. She
Yeah.
says her father blames himself more than he blames Oliver for what happened to Sarah. Oliver hears something. They start eating like ice cream and kind of just hanging out, chilling, talking about the past and kind of what they're up to nowadays, and kind of what Laurel's been doing with her law career and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But Oliver then hears something outside. Uh, he kind of pulls her out of the way just before somebody starts shooting a gun. Starts kind of shooting up her apartment. It ends up being the Triads. Obviously, Diggle was outside. He comes in and blows two of them away. Uh,
Hmm.
so he saves Oliver and Laurel in this situation. Um, the China White then shows up, and Summers is also somewhere around the building, but she manages to escape eventually. She almost kills Diggle, but Oliver's able to save him with like a kitchen knife. He just kind of
Yes.
hurls like a butter knife at her before she can take out Diggle. And then obviously Quentin and the police show up, thank Diggle, and then he goes right after Oliver and says, "Every time you come around my daughters, it seems like somebody's either getting shot at or dying. So I need you to stay away from Laurel going forward." And
Yeah.
Oliver seems pretty okay with it. So that was
Yeah.
kind of a big scene. What were your thoughts on kind of this kind
I
of action scene?
I made a note, and I think this might be an award when we get to it. I feel like is the I am sorry, you apologized already, and it will never be enough. I kind of like that with he, he
Yeah,
kind of made him he makes amends, and it's real big because um that's kind of an it's kind of an ongoing thing throughout this entire universe that Ollie cheated on Laurel with her sister Sarah, and then obviously we know Sarah comes back, so it's like, it's a big thing the whole time. But I don't know. To me, it just it spoke. I liked that they did that like right away. Like they did that like in episode 2 where he kind of like he apologizes. And the conversation he has with her is great, where she's like, prove to your mother that you don't want to do this. Like she's like, do what you do. And so I have to say, like, I kind of don't like what he does at the end of the episode or towards the end of the episode and like
yeah,
the next segment, because it's like, dude, there's so many different ways that you could have handled this and gotten like everybody off your back, and it's because he has this mission that he has to do. And but yeah, so I mean, I'm kind of conflicted with how he goes about it, but I do like the conversation that they have. And then obviously Diggle seeing him throwing like a friggin' steak knife or whatever it is, a butter knife, whatever it was, and disarming, China White. Clearly he knows, well, this kid isn't just doing, he's not punking around. So yeah, so we'll have to see where it goes from here.
yeah. He obviously kind of notices that he's a little more skilled. Um,
Hmm.
with weapons and stuff like that than maybe he's
Yes.
letting on, and he didn't learn that before he went to the island. So
Right. Right.
Diggle's kind of trying to start to pick up on stuff like that, and that actually
Hmm.
happens in the next scene. Diggle says he noticed that Oliver was able to help him by throwing an unbalanced kitchen knife
Yeah.
10 feet across the room.
Yeah.
Queen then kind of tries to brush it off as luck, but obviously Diggle, being the tactical kind of army man that he is, knows better. um,
Well, and he
Oliver,
says, I just want to say, he goes, I think I'm just beginning to understand what kind of man you are. and
Mhm.
that's a big thing for me. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just wanted to
Absolutely.
put I wanted to point that out. Sorry.
No, yeah, no, yeah. That
Mhm,
was a good thing to point out for sure.
mhm, mhm,
We then get Oliver. He goes to his lair. Obviously, he gets into his hood gear. He is prepared to go after Mr. Summers. The hood then arrives just as Summers is preparing to leave town. We then go to Quentin. Wants Laurel to recuse herself from the case. He wants her to take
mhm.
herself off of it. She obviously doesn't want to do it. Quentin gets a call about something happening at the docks, so they have a little bickering back and forth, where Laurel just wants to do the right thing. She wants to do everything that she taught him, or that her father taught him about, abiding by the law, standing up for the law and stuff like that. So she really tries to stand up to her father here because he's trying to get her to kind of cower away. Um, but we go to the docks that obviously Quentin had just got the call for, and obviously the Hood is fighting his way to get to Mr. Summers. He gets to Summers, and he gets him to admit that he ordered the Triads to kill Victor. He has one of his, like, you know arrows that has like a recording device in it or whatever.
Mhm.
And a female member of the Triad, like I said, China White, shows up, and they have like a big kind of martial arts back and forth. Obviously, the Hood kind of hangs with him, but she's the first person that I feel like kind of stands up and kind of fights back and hangs with him a little bit. The
Yep.
police then show up, and Quentin actually has the Hood in his sights, but he shoots an arrow at Quentin's arm, kind of to knock the gun away from
Mhm.
Quentin, but not to hurt him. Obviously, he then obviously we have the arrow that had the digital recording, and obviously Quentin notices it, and it has Summer's confession on it. So Quentin's kind of pissed that obviously the Hood got away, but he is obviously thankful that he has Summers dead to rights with this confession, though. So, what did you think of Oliver kind of suiting up? Laurel kind of standing up to her father in this kind of fight scene where he kind
Well,
of gets Summers to admit what happened.
it's all great. I mean, it's all great, and I even kind of like I like the standoff between Oliver and Detective Lance, where he's just like, he's like, "I got you," and then just quickly like, whoop, he like, Oliver kind of like sneaks away, and it's the first kind of like, okay, this guy may be somebody to help me, like, and he doesn't want to admit that he needs the help and that he needs this vigilante, as most law people, like, as most law-abiding officers will do. But I kind of like that he kind of smirked in a way, and he's like, well, son of a bitch, like, he's like, son of a
Yeah.
bitch, like, this
Yeah, I
guy,
mean, he
you
wants to
got it
take him he wants to take him down, but
right.
obviously if it
He
means
wants to
taking
do it the
bad
right
guys
way. Yeah.
off the
Hmm.
streets,
Yeah.
then he's willing to kind of take the help.
Sure.
But
Hmm.
continue, sorry.
No, that was it. I liked
Okay,
it.
I got you.
Yeah, I
I
like
got
the
you.
ending. Yeah.
All right.
Hmm.
So we'll go from there. Oliver decides, kind of in one of those things where he's like, is kind of narrating while he's doing some other stuff, but he decides that he needs to be the person that everybody thinks he is in order to fulfill his promise to his father.
Right.
Like you said earlier, he kind of goes about it the wrong way. We'll talk about that just right now. We cut to Walter. He's doing the dedication to the new building, the new division of Queen Consolidated. Oliver then shows up. He seems to be drunk. I don't know if he's actually drunk or if he just is so, he was so
Yeah.
used to that back in the day that
Yeah.
he can just kind of play drunk. He grabs a microphone, creates a scene. He says he's not half the man his father was, and kind of looks at Walter and his mother and says, "Stop asking me to be." We
Mm.
then go to Summers. He is headed to jail. Quentin stops by to see Laurel. He says he's still not happy with the Hood, and he even calls him an anarchist. But well, again, he wants to bring him down, but he obviously is kind of like, okay, he did kind of help us out a little bit. So
Hmm.
um, we then have Oliver across Summers' name off the list. He then flashes back to bringing his father uh, on the island. Up kind of on a hill, and he ends up kind of burying his father's body under some big rocks. So obviously the birds and other animals don't get to him quite as easily. Noticed inside his father's pocket, he finds a blank journal with a circular logo on the front page. We then go to Moira. She meets with somebody in the back part of a limousine, assuring them that her son has no clue about what is actually going on or that the yacht was actually sabotaged. The person then holds up something, and it has a very similar circular logo to the one that is on Oliver's list. So before we get to the kind of final two scenes, what did you think of this kind of reveal, this thing that happened right here?
His mother is just, again, you can't trust anybody, not even your own mama. So
Not
yeah,
even your mother, kid.
you can't even trust your mother, kid. You can honor thy father, but don't honor thy mother. So I mean, that's exactly what it is, though, is it not? I mean, she's obviously complicit in everything, and that goes back to what I was saying, where it's like, her hands are just as dirty as everybody else's. So yeah.
Yeah, we don't quite, obviously, we don't quite meet whoever this other person is quite yet.
No.
But yeah, Moira seems to be in some dirty shit when it comes to what happened to Oliver.
Dirty shit, kid.
And Sarah, obviously, she was involved as well. But it's interesting. It'll be interesting to get more into this and kind of dive deeper into what Moira's kind of into. But I figured that was a pretty important scene to kind of pick out there. But we then go from there. We see Oliver go to his father's gravestone in the backyard once again. He talks about how hard it's been to reconnect with everyone and keep his secrets, obviously his other identity. He reaffirms his pledge to right his father's wrongs, but tells him that he'll do it so he'll have no dishonor to his memory. As he leaves, he has some workers dismantle. I don't know if it's Oliver's headstone or if he destroyed both. I'm guessing he just destroyed Oliver's headstone.
Yeah, I think he just destroyed his. Yeah,
because obviously
he's not dead anymore.
He's not actually dead. So, and then we go back to the island one last time. He is finishing burying his father under some rocks. Queen is then hit in the right shoulder by an arrow. He looks back and he sees a person wearing a green hood, ironically enough, in the distance. And the person that shot him obviously is starting to load up another arrow to probably finish him off. But Oliver passes out before that can happen. So, what did you think of his conversation with his father, quote unquote, and the revelation that there is someone else on the island with
I mean, this island ends up being it's like the friggin' island from Lost, and ends up having everything literally on it. So, but yeah, no, I mean, it's obviously the first thread in this mystery that we have to unravel. So yeah, no, it's great. And then the conversation he has with his dad, again, I don't know if I necessarily agreed with, I almost feel like it would have been easier for him to say, I want, especially considering that the building that they're opening up is applied sciences. And if, as we know from the Nolan verse, that's where Batman got all of his shit. So it's to me, it would have made sense for Oliver to be like, you know what, I'm going to help run applied sciences. And then it's he could be there. He's away from his mother and from Walter. He's away from the corporate office. He's probably not going to be having as many meetings, and he's going to be able to get involved with all the trick arrows and shit like that, where he can get stuff and he can get his own version of Lucius Fox, where he can have somebody that's making shit for him as the Green Arrow. So I kind of would have rathered see that, but I can understand where they're going. He wants to not even be involved because he needs to devote all of his time. It's just going to be really weird when you try to see him during the day, and what's he going to just constantly be aloof and drunk appearing, and then it's okay. So yeah, we'll have to see where this goes. Also, don't forget to mention that there's still this ongoing romantic thing with Tommy and Laurel as well, that they don't want him to find out. So
yeah, we do get kind of an awkward situation where obviously Tommy wants to talk to her a little bit more at the beginning of the episode, but obviously they don't want to kind of expose their relationship to Oliver quite yet. So. But yeah, I don't love how he kind of went about it either. And he could have, taken it over. Or he could have just said, I'm not ready yet. I'm readjusting. I haven't quite figured out how to handle a lot of these relationships and stuff. And maybe I'll
I
do it
wasn't ready
eventually.
5 years ago. I'm not ready right now. You
And
know,
I'm still not ready. Just give me, another couple of weeks or something like that, and
right,
get back
right,
with me or something like that. But
right.
um, yeah, obviously, he probably does kind of go about it the wrong way. But
Mhm,
yeah, another solid episode. I think it obviously built some more story, some more tension,
mhm.
kind of some foreshadowing to things that may happen in the future with Moira and the limousine situation. If you had to give this episode a score out of 10, what would you go with?
I mean, this is another solid 6.5, 7. I think. I mean, it's got a good fight sequence. It's got a couple good fight sequences that you see. It's got more mystery with who this mysterious person is that Moore is talking to. It's got more of like, it seems like Diggle's right on the cusp of figuring out what Oliver's deal is. And it's got some, I feel like the conversation that he has with Diggle and then the conversation that he has with Laurel is very important, as well as the conversation he has with Thea. I think like the conversations that he has, the exposition is real good. So I like this episode a lot.
Yeah, I would definitely go 7 out of 10. It definitely had a few good fight scenes, like you said. We finally get our first "You have failed this city," so
Yeah.
I think we get two there, so that could be another thing we kind of keep up with how
Yeah.
many failed
Yeah.
this cities we get in an episode or something like that. But
Yeah.
I think we definitely got at least two in this one.
Yes.
But yeah, definitely a solid episode. Hopefully we don't get a bad one for a while, but definitely
I
back to
don't
back.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure if I remember from watching it, this show was pretty friggin' balls awesome until they started with like and it wasn't anything else. It was just that the writers of the show started to spread themselves too thin because they were doing too much.
Yeah,
So I
doing
mean,
too many.
if they had just left it with like maybe just Flash and maybe just this, I think it would have been a solid universe, but they started expanding too much. So no, but the first few seasons of Arrow is like, in my opinion, are fucking awesome. So
Yeah, absolutely incredible.
mhm.
But we will go to some awards real quick.
Yeah.
Who was your MVP for this episode?
I mean, my MVP, I think, has got to be Oliver because I mean, he does, he does most of the heavy lifting throughout this episode. So I'd give it to him. Maybe seconded by, I would say Diggle, but really, I think Oliver's the MVP. I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually go with Diggle.
Okay.
I think Oliver, kind of was a chicken shit in that press conference, kind of, that
Yeah.
scene. So I'm gonna give the up to Diggle because
All right.
he does kind of save their lives.
Well,
So
then I
um,
will I will go with you on that. I will not fight you on it.
I got you. I would even consider Laurel because she kind of does stand up to her dad too. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think Diggle obviously kind of saves Laurel and Oliver's life at one point. So
Yeah.
honestly, if Oliver hadn't done the whole thing with the press conference and kind of acted like a petulant little dick, I
Yeah.
think I probably would have gone with him too.
I have to be someone else. I have to be something else.
The most important scene. What would you go with on that?
I would say that the most important scene is when Diggle says to him, "I think I'm just starting to understand what kind of man you are." And it's because it's very telling that he sees right through him and he knows that he's not a petulant little child, as you just pointed out. He knows that there's something deeper to this guy and that he was, something happened to him on that island. So I feel that that's the most important scene because it's foreshadowing a lot of what's going to happen in like the next couple episodes. So
Yeah, that one's definitely important. Obviously, to the plot of the season, I would probably go with the limousine kind of meeting between Mora
okay,
and the
all right.
mystery person. So, best scene. Which kind of one of the fight scenes did you think kind of stood out?
I liked the fight scene where he starts fighting China White, and it's just the two of them, and it's very quick. It's not a very long fight, but I like that fight.
Yeah, I think they'll probably have a couple of more duels throughout the show, and
Yeah.
it'll be a little bit more extended and stuff like that. But I like
Mhm.
that she kind of hung with him. Despite, obviously, some people would think, oh, a woman can't beat up a guy, but she hangs with him,
Sure.
and that does fight back pretty well, in that scene. So
You have failed this city.
and who would be your LVP for this episode?
Tommy, he's a douche. Tommy sucks. I fucking hate Tommy Merlin. I really do. Like, even just from his intro, like, yeah, it was kind of funny and it's humorous to point out that Oliver had like 4 court appearances before, but it's like he's just like, oh, that time you stole the cab. No, like he's such a douche. I don't know.
New World Order. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, he's a douche. So yeah, Tommy's probably gonna win it for me like almost every single episode. But yeah, Tommy sucks.
Yeah, I might go with Detective Lance on this one. He was kind of a dickhead to Laurel throughout.
Okay. Wow.
Obviously, doesn't seem super receptive.
Wow.
To
and you have a daughter.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to be a protective father, but he tries to basically get Laurel to.
Yeah, no, he's doing the protective father gig and everything, and I can understand what you're saying. So
yeah. But that's definitely what I would go with. I don't know if you want to stick with the. I don't know if you want to stick with the worst hair.
There's not really worst hair. It is not a worst hair thing. I just wanted to do that. I just wanted to do that because it was a thing that the old Place to Be guys used to do, and I thought it was kind of funny. But I don't really know if there's any worst hair. I mean, you want to do best hair? I don't know, but no. I mean, yeah, if it's worst hair, it's still Oliver on the Island. I mean, Oliver on the Island's probably going to win worst hair all the time because it's just that's the only hair that's really out of place. So
he's got the terrible rug,
right?
And like I said earlier, nobody has found out that Oliver is the Arrow.
So we're at 2 episodes in.
We're at 2 episodes so far. Unfortunately, that counter will not go much longer. I'm afraid we do have somebody.
But then it resets.
Yeah, then it resets. We will have
it's
a reset.
Like days at work without an accident. It keeps resetting.
Yeah, it's days at work without an FCC violation or something like that on a TV show. But yeah, like I said earlier, another great episode. I'm looking forward to obviously getting into the next one as well. But before we go out, anything you would like to plug?
Well, we're not doing shift plugs, I'm assuming, right? We're going to have to do our own live plugs now.
Yeah, we can. That's fine.
Okay. So please listen to everything we do here on the Backbone Wrestling Network. You can hear me in particular on Movie Education with a certain Logan Crosland. You can hear me on Clash of the Champones. You can hear me on Shit Take, Hot Hands of Z. Can Keithie Take the Heat? My YouTube cooking show. And I think that's everything I do on the Backbone along with this. And then you can hear me on GFA Live with Petey Winston, A La Carte with Keithie, and Hail to the Keith, as well as my new interview show on YouTube, which is Take It Easy with Keithie on the YouTube. Take It Easy with Keithie. But yeah, and then when I make appearances on the Jenny Positions Exposition podcast, and I mean, you can hear me, and then find me at Flounder824 on Twitter and Blue Sky.
I thought you were changing it to Take Me Home, Keithie Rhodes. What happened to that? I'm just kidding.
Take me home, Keithie
listen to YouTube Roulette for that joke.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was on YouTube Roulette. But listen to YouTube Roulette. Listen to New Gen on a Mission. Listen to the Cross Up every single Monday. Logan is doing God's work. He tells us all about everything that happened on television for wrestling the previous week, and it's an amazing show. Everybody should listen to it, and it drops like Monday morning, so you can hear it in the first few hours of work when you're bored out of your mind and tired from the weekend. You can listen to Logan and his angelic voice. You also please listen to Logan on Are You Smarter Than Vince Russo's WCW, and also on Highway to the Impact Zone, and I think that's all of them, right?
We also have Linking Up Luchas.
Linking Up Luchas, shit, which is almost coming to an end almost.
Yeah, we only have 3 episodes left in the tank on that one, so we're getting close to wrapping up season 4, which is unfortunately the last season. Maybe not unfortunately where we're at right now. We're getting pretty disenfranchised with the company, but it's a money thing. It's they don't have the roster that they had in previous seasons and stuff like that, but definitely check out all the things that Keithie mentioned. We do have classic episodes of NWA Rock and Roll as
We
well
do.
that post every Saturday from. That was a pod that was on the Place V Nation wrestling feed that Sean Kidd did, and he kind of brought it over to kind of revisit it. So maybe some listeners that didn't listen there that listen to us could kind of go back through that podcast and experience it again. And Sean also does Territorial, so he kind of restarted that back up recently as well. But
Yes.
yeah, just check everything out that we're doing. Everybody's putting in some great work, without a doubt. So yeah, just continue to check us all out. Thank you for joining us again on Journey Through the Arrowverse, and hopefully we did not fail this network.
Do
All
I?
right.
Ooh, how about that?
Sexy. I'm just kidding.
Ooh, I look like a floating
You look like
head.
a floating head. You look like the fucking thing on Power Rangers that's in the big.
Oh, 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 oh.
You must complete the mission, Power Rangers. Golly.
Find the White Ranger.
You also kind of look like the Bohemian Rhapsody.
I see a little silhouette of a man's Scaramouche, Scaramouche.
Oh, God. Please leave that in.
All right.
All right. In 3, 2, 1.